The show you're about to watch presents an artistic interpretation of real historic events. Names, characters, places, and incidents are all products of reality and are used to commemorate real people and occurrence. Any resemblance to actual events, locales, or persons, living or dead, is entirely intentional. The production is a result of hard work, great passion, and radical ideas. Dear spectators, welcome to the Gulb50th. Everything started back in 1969. The last year of the decade was going to be a memorable one in humanity's history, making one small step for man, yet one giant leap for mankind. Neil Armstrong was going to be the first man to set foot on the moon. Coming down to Earth, a new music festival near New York City was going to mark the nucleus of a counterculture generation. Supported by artists such as Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and The Who, Woodstock encapsulated 3 days of peace and music, which people would remember decades later. 1969 was a year of radical thinking, a turning point where people refused to be told what to do, how to act, or what to feel. It was a year of fighting for one's beliefs and rights, a year where love had to be felt and expressed freely. 1969 marked the beginning of a series of riots starting off at Stonewall Inn in New York City, riots meant to protect and support the LGBT rights. Music was making waves across the pond with the Beatles releasing their standout album, Abbey Road, marking a pinnacle point in the history of the band. That was the last time the four Beatles were together in a studio. In the meantime, in Canterbury, 1969 marked the creation of a hub for art and innovation. With the support of the Gulbenkian Foundation, the art centre with the same name started being projected on the campus of the University of Kent. The Gulbenkian was going to strike its public from the very first show. Controversial and daring, the exploding dream was the ideal beginning for a space where dangerous ideas would come to life. Making its way in newspapers and being followed by countless other shows, that was the start of a new generation of young people with radical ideas. Students got more and more involved in every aspect of the Gulbenkian, from attending shows to acting in them and making the sets and props. The new theatre was so loved by the public, no wonder signs were often up reading, "House Full." Making history on its own, the Gulbenkian was founded in the very proximity of the third railway ever to be built. Known as the Crab and Winkle Line, it had been closed years before. But a severe subsidence in its unused tunnel seriously damaged the theatre. The same decade brought challenges for the entire United Kingdom. With a troubled economy that affected unions, coal miners decided to go on strike. A measure that had to be taken following the strikes to reduce the electricity consumption was to limit the commercial use of electricity to only 3 consecutive days a week. The 70s also marked a groundbreaking moment in the evolution of communication. This was when Ray Tomlinson managed to send the first email ever. Riots, music, technology, the world was changing. People were eager to discover more, to experiment more, and to experience more. One of those new experiences people were so excited to try was the wonderful world of video games, and Pong was one of the first arcade games the public fell in love with. The 80s began with the launch of one of the most loved games of all time, Pac-Man. It had its own mascot, established the maze chase genre, and it appealed to female players more than any other games at the time. In a nutshell, Pac-Man revolutionized the history of video games. The revolution continued with the Game Boy, a handheld device that delighted everyone with games such as Super Mario, Pokemon, and of course, the unforgettable Tetris. People started becoming much braver and true to themselves. They wanted to wonder more, to discover more, and to experience more. Nonetheless, the same dangerous ideas were being challenged right here at the Gulbenkian. Ben, a flamboyant play that questioned mentalities and doctrines, was going to be the first one in a series of memorable shows the public would remember years later. The following decade set the tone for operas that would unfold intriguing stories from all over the world to their spectators, entertaining and enthralling them here at the Gulbenkian. People were becoming more united. This spirit built the foundation of the European Union. Interconnectivity became real and accessible with the popularization of the World Wide Web. And so the internet was going to change the world forever. The early 2000s brought with them information, connectivity, and entertainment. As the world kept evolving, it became more progressive, and the Netherlands was going to set an amazing example when it became the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. Connectivity quickly became the keyword of the time. With the launch of the first iPhone and the popularization of texting, people could stay updated and communicate in no time. The same spirit of union took over the students at the University of Kent as well. And when the time arrived, they stood up for their beliefs together. In 2010, students would gather all over the country to make their voices heard, as the university fees had been raised. But their voices also had to be heard in regard to what made students happy. And here at the Gulbenkian, that was art. This is how Art 31 emerged as an opportunity for young people to create and discover freely. And the promotion of arts was going to continue. In 2014, Gulbenkian was introducing the first edition of Boing, an international family festival that would steal everyone's hearts. It all comes to today. Undoubtedly, the past 50 years changed the humanity immensely. We discovered, we fought, we created, and we loved together, united. And today, we are all here in union. We are all here at the Gulbenkian.